Hey everybody, it is Monday. We're back on Foundations. We had a good opportunity. Those of you that met with me last night for youth, we had an opportunity to get caught back up and do some reading together, which was good. So hopefully you had a chance to work on your journal today. I know some of you guys are going back to school today, and some of you guys are just starting being out for the day. So for some of you, it's a good day and start of your vacation. And some of you, it's a terrible day because you're going back to school tomorrow. If you go to Chattooga, you're going back to school tomorrow. So if you're logged in tonight, go ahead and put your name in the comments when you get on here, and that way I'll know who's here. Hopefully some of you guys that just watch and you don't usually check in, go ahead and say hi anyhow. You don't have to comment or anything, but say hi just so that we know who all's watching and who's with us tonight. In case you're confused on the text that we're going to do about, there was a little bit of confusion in my house about it. We're going to be in Genesis 25, chapter 25, verses 19 through 34, and also chapter 26. So yeah, I know Stephen and Stan's excited about being out of school this week, but everybody in my house, I'm excited for school to go back this week, but my kids aren't ready to go back yet. We spent a lot of time together this week, and I think we could use going back to school. It'd be good for all of us. I'm ready to go back to driving a school bus, which I got to drive some during the break anyways. I got to do 2 soccer games. I think I've got 2 soccer games coming up this week. So for those nights, I won't be on here. I don't believe. I might do a small video and post it, but I won't be able to live stream from the ball game. It takes up too much data. Malia is also glad to go back to school. She loves learning. Alright, so if you can, if you did your journal for this section, go ahead and put your verse up that you did for this. We read through this last night together. I know Malia wasn't with us last night, but for those of you that were, we read through this last night, and tonight we're going to discuss it. So, what we did, let me get turned to it in my Bible. Basically, what it's dealing with is the 2 brothers, Isaac's son. Isaac married Rebekah. We talked about that, and he had some sons, and these 2 sons are gonna go at it throughout life. And it starts out with their birth. They're already one's deceptive and not playing fair versus the other one. And then tomorrow when we talk about it, we'll be talking about these same brothers. Alright, so let me get out of Romans and get into Genesis. I need more than one bookmarker in my Bible. That's Genesis chapter 25. And I think you should be able to hear me today. When I did the preview earlier, I tested the audio and it sounded a lot better than last time. Last time it sounded like I was really far away. I'm trying to remember to push my mic up against my mouth. That way it'll be louder. Alright, so basically when it starts out on verse 19, chapter 25, verse 19, it talks about the birth of Esau and of Jacob. It says, these are the generations of Isaac, Abraham's son. Abraham fathered Isaac, and Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah, the daughter of Bethuel, and the Aramean of the Paddan Aram, the sister of Laban, the Aramean, to be his wife. And Isaac prayed to the Lord for his wife, because she was barren. And the Lord granted his prayer, and Rebekah his wife conceived. The children struggled together within her womb, and she said, If it is thus, why is this happening to me? So she went to inquire of the Lord, and the Lord said to her, 2 nations are in your womb, and 2 people from within you shall be divided, and one shall be stronger than the other. The older shall serve the younger. Now it says the older shall serve the younger. That's not normal in the families, in the Jewish families at this time, or in Israel this time, because the oldest brother got all the, and a lot of that still goes on today. The oldest child still gets all the attention. Sometimes the oldest child gets most of the inheritance, but they should also assume a lot more of the responsibility because they are older. But it says here that the younger is going to be in control of the older one. So it's going to flip things up, and we'll see that tomorrow too. Whenever they start switching roles, when Esau comes in and he wants to switch roles with his brother. All right. If once you get the TV turned up, let me know. Let me know that you're back on here. I'm gonna read a little intro on here. For what the book says, the Foundations book, about what it says for today's study. It says Isaac married Rebekah, and like Sarah, it appeared Rebekah would be the childless. But after Isaac prayed to God, she gave birth to twin boys, Esau and Jacob. Early on, animosity ran deep between the 2 brothers. One day, when Esau came home exhausted from an unsuccessful hunt, Jacob sold him a bowl of soup in exchange for Esau's birthright, the first recorded instance of what would become a lifelong sibling rivalry, rooted in jealousy and pride. This is where Isaac's sons, these were Isaac's sons, so they too were children of the promise, God's covenant with Abraham. And like the covenant he had with Abraham, God promised to bless Isaac and his offspring. By pointing out many of Isaac's, Jacob's, and Esau's sins, the writer of Genesis reminds us again that God's faithfulness to love his people has nothing to do with them, it has everything to do with him. And that's an excellent point. We keep discussing that and going over, is that we're never going to be good enough. We're never going to be able to get it right. God's standard's too high for us, and so that we're never going to be able to hit that standard. And that's why we need Jesus Christ in order for us to gain righteousness. So if you're on here, I haven't seen anybody put their verse yet. Go ahead and put your verse up for this section that you had. Some other reading, if you want to read it, some of you guys are watching this, it goes along with this, is Romans 4:20 through 22, and Hebrews 11:17 through 19. So these brothers started off in conflict from the very, very beginning. When they're in their mother's womb, they start having arguments, and one grabs the other. It says, when it was her day to give birth, when her days to give birth were completed, behold, there were twins in her womb. The first came out red, all over his body, like a hairy cloak. So they called his name Esau. Afterward, his brother came out with his hand, holding Esau's heel. So his name was called Jacob. Isaac was 60 years old when she bore them, meaning Rebekah. When the boys grew up, Esau, a skillful hunter and a man of the field, Jacob was a quiet man, dwelling in tents. Isaac loved Esau because he ate his game, but Rebekah loved Jacob. So when you see in this family plays out, the dad has a favorite and the mom has a favorite. So the dad likes the big burly hunter Esau, who can go out and get him food and bring him in food because he's old, he can't hunt anymore. And so he really enjoys having a son that can provide for him and come in and cook for him. And Jacob, on the other hand, was more of a mama's boy. He'd stay at home with his mom. He wouldn't go out, wouldn't do the manly stuff. And he had a really, really tight bond with his mom. that doesn't really benefit him later on in the next chapter. So his brother comes in, Esau comes in, he's been hunting, he's exhausted. He tells his brother, he said, look, I'm going to die. I need some food right now. And just so happened, Jacob been hanging around the house, didn't go out anywhere. He'd been cooking, and he had some red stew. So Esau demanded it of him. In verse 29, it says, once Jacob was cooking stew, Esau came in from the field, and he was exhausted. And Esau said to Jacob, let me eat some of that red stew, for I'm exhausted. Therefore his name was called Edom. Jacob said, sell me your birthright now. Esau said, I'm about to die. Of what use is a birthright to me? So Jacob said, swear to me now. Adjust my mic real quick. Swear to me now. So he swore to him, and he sold his birthright to Jacob. And then Jacob gave Esau bread and lentil stew, and they ate and drank, and he rose and he went his way. And thus Esau despised his birthright. So he thought, well, what's good as a birthright to me? I don't care right now. I'm going to die. If I don't get this food, I'm going to die anyhow. So what good's an inheritance? And that's what the birthright is. The birthright is the inheritance. Everything that he's going to get when his father Isaac dies, it goes first to the firstborn. And so being the one that came out first, the oldest, it's going to go to him. But he gives that up for some stew. And it reminds me, and I've heard a great sermon on this by my former pastor, Terry Trivet, on this about red stew decisions. He makes a hasty decision. He thinks, oh, who cares? It's just a birthright, no big deal, whatever. I want something right this minute. I want something immediate. My needs need to be met right now. So he's not looking towards the future. He's not thinking how this is going to affect him 10, 20 years from now. He's thinking of right this minute. What do I want right now? And what is he willing to give up for what he wants right now? And what he gave up was everything. He gave up his birthright. And so if you have a verse, go ahead and put it in your comments. I see Brittany's got hers up here. Brittany's verse for today is 25:32. If you can, go ahead and fill out the rest of the information. There you go. I'm seeing it pop up now. Her explanation for 25:32. Let me find 32 again. It said, Esau said, I am about to die. Of what use is a birthright to me? And Jacob said, swear to me now. And so he swore to him and sold his birthright to Jacob. So her explanation in this says that Esau is saying, I am about to die. Why do I need a birthright? And sometimes we get like that too. We get discouraged and we want something immediate. And so we'll do whatever we'll give up something else for getting what we want right this minute. It could be any type of decision in your life. It could be, you can work at McDonald's right now for $7, $8 an hour. I don't know what minimum wage is, but you can get a job right now for McDonald's, or you can finish high school and go to college and then get a career where you're going to make a lot of money. A lot of young folks see that opportunity right this minute, and they think, man, that's a lot of money. I could do all kinds of stuff with this money right now, and I need it right now. I've got to have new shoes. I don't look as good as everybody else. I got to have this. I got to have that. And so they'll sacrifice the good that's coming to them if they would have patience and just continue on with what they need to do. Anybody else? I'm seeing Brittany's. If anybody else has a verse for today, go ahead and put that in there, and we'll discuss it as well. Moving on to chapter 6, while Brittany's putting in her definition, her responses, and things like that. Move on with me to chapter 26. Chapter 26, verse 1 says, Now there was a famine in the land, besides the former famine that was in the days of Abraham. And Isaac went to Gerar, to Abimelech, king of the Philistines. And the Lord appeared to him, and he said, Do not go to Egypt. Dwell in the land of which I shall sell you. Which I shall tell you. Sojourn in this land, and I will be with you, and will bless you. For to you and all of the offspring I will give all the lands. and I will establish an oath that I swore to Abraham your father. I will multiply your offspring as the stars of the heaven, and I will give you your offspring all these lands. And in the offspring all the nations of the earth shall be blessed, because Abraham obeyed my voice and kept my charge, my commandments, my statutes, and my laws. So Isaac settled in Gerar, and when the men of the place asked him about his wife, he said, "She is my sister." Now, where have we seen that before? We saw that when we were in Genesis, when Abraham lied about Sarah twice and told people, "That's my sister," which we later learned that it was his half sister, but it was also a half truth. But so he said, "She's my sister," for he feared to say, "My wife," thinking lest the man would kill me because of Rebekah, because she was attractive in appearance. And when he had been there a long time, Abimelech, king of the Philistines, looked out of the window, and he saw Isaac laughing with Rebekah, his wife. So Abimelech called Isaac, and he said, "Behold, she is your wife? How then could you say, 'She is my sister'?" Isaac said to him, "Because I thought lest I die because of her." Abimelech said, "What is it that you have done to us? One of the people might easily have lain with your wife, and you would have brought guilt upon us." So Abimelech warned all the people, saying, "Whoever touches this man or his wife surely will be put to death." And Isaac sowed in the land, and he reaped in the same year 100-fold. The Lord blessed him, and the man became rich, and he gained more and more until he became very wealthy. He had possessions of flocks and herds and many servants, so that the Philistines envied him. Now the Philistines had stopped and filled the earth with wells that his fathers and his servants had dug in the day of Abraham his father. And Abimelech said to Isaac, "Go away from us, for you are much mightier than we." So Isaac departed from there, and he encamped in the valley of Gerar, and he settled there. And Isaac dug again the wells of his father, the wells of water that had been dug in the days of Abraham his father, which the Philistines had stopped after the death of Abraham. And he gave them the names that his father had given them. But when Isaac's servants dug in the valley, and they found that there was a well of a spring of water, the herdsmen of Gerar quarreled with Isaac's herdsmen, saying, "This water is ours." So he called it the name of the well Esek, because they contended with him. Then they dug another well, and they quarreled over that one. So he called that name Sitnah. And he moved on from there, and he dug another well, and they did not quarrel over this one. So he called the name Rehoboth, saying, "For now the Lord has made room for us, and we shall be fruitful in the land." For there he went up from Beersheba. And the Lord appeared to him in the same night, and he said, "I am the God of Abraham your father. Fear not, for I am with you, and will bless you, and will multiply your offspring for my servant Abraham's sake." So he built an altar there, and he called upon the name of the Lord, and he pitched his tent there. And there Isaac's servants dug a well. When Abimelech, let me find out what's going on with my battery real quick. I may not have plugged it in. Hold on just a second. Can't do anything without electricity. Alright, there we go. We're powered up now. Where were we? What verse were we at? When Abimelech went to him from Gerar with his advisor and Phicol, the commander, Phicol, the commander of the army, Isaac said to them, Why have you come to me, seeing that you hate me, and that you have sent me away from you? And they said, We see plainly that the Lord has been with you. So we said, Let there be a sworn pact between us, between you and us, and let us make a covenant with you, that you will do us no harm, just as we have not touched you, and you have not done to you nothing but good, and we have sent you away in peace. You are now the blessed of the Lord. You are now the blessed of the Lord. So he made them a feast, and they ate and they drank. And in the morning they rose early and exchanged oath. And Isaac said to them on their way, and they departed. He set them on their way, and they parted from him in peace. That same day Isaac's servants came, and they told him that the well that they had dug, and said to him, We have found water. And he called it Shibah. Therefore the name of the city is Beersheba to this day. When Esau was 40 years old, he took Judith, the daughter of Beeri, the Hittite, to be his wife, and Basemath, the daughter of Elon, the Hittite. And they made life bitter for Isaac and Rebekah. Alright, so a couple things are going on here. God's blessing him. God's blessing Isaac. Despite of what he has done. He makes the same mistakes as Abraham, tells the same lie as Abraham. So apparently, Abraham is not teaching his children. It doesn't say that he's not teaching his children, but I would assume that if he had told his children how his mother almost got married to a king because he had lied about it, and the trouble that he had got in, there's a pretty good chance that Isaac wouldn't have done the exact same thing and tell everybody that his wife is his sister. Luckily, the king looked out the window and they found the lie. He found out about it before it got out of hand, and he warned his people to stay away from him. Stay away from Isaac and stay away from his wife. All right, so let's take a look at Brittany's. Brittany's verse was 25:32, and it says, Esau was saying that I'm about to die, so why do I need a birthright? The application of that she has, Esau is saying that he needs food right this minute so he won't die. So he doesn't need a birthright if he's about to die without food, but later he doesn't get his inheritance. He may not be able to do the things that he needs. He might not be able to have the things he needs to live. And then the response is, God, let me make the right decisions to help me and your plan for me. And part of making those good decisions, as we've seen over and over and over, is having patience with God. God's going to do what he says he's going to do. He's going to take care of his people, but he doesn't take care of his people the exact moment that they want it. So we can't be prima donnas when it comes to God. God moves in his own time, and his time is always perfect. All right, so before we sign off tonight, if you have any questions about what we've discussed, or if you don't know what we're doing tomorrow, we're going to be doing Genesis 27 and 28. So if you've already got that knocked out, then you're ahead of the game. If not, then you'll need to read 27 and 28 and do your journals in that. So we're going to get into the deception tomorrow, of how one of these brothers cheated the other brother again. And the mom's role in it. Mom wasn't innocent in it as well. So, alright, well, I don't see anybody on here, so appreciate you guys signing on. For the ones that watch it later, I appreciate you guys supporting this Bible study, and I hope you're getting something out of it. I know I have been. So I will see you tomorrow, and we'll discuss 27 and 28. Good night.